The Wrong Turn, Part 1. The night was silent, except for the hum of an old SUV speeding down a lonely mountain road. 6 college friends, Chris, Jesse, Carly, Scott, Evan, and Francine, were on their way to a music festival in West Virginia. Laughter and music filled the air as they raced against time, unaware that the forest around them hid something far darker than the shadows of trees. Chris Flynn, a medical student, had taken a shortcut after a long day. A map on his dashboard showed a thin road cutting through the woods, a supposed, quicker, way to reach Raleigh. His radio signal died as the road narrowed. Up ahead, a wreck blocked the path, 2 cars smashed in a brutal collision. Smoke rose faintly from one of them. When Chris stepped out to check, he saw spikes made from barbed wire stretched across the road. Someone had set a trap. Not far behind, the group of friends had also taken the same route after getting lost. Their SUV broke down deep in the forest after the tires blew out on something sharp, the same barbed wire. They had no idea that their paths were about to cross in a nightmare they could never escape. Chris met the stranded group while walking to find help. Suspicion turned to uneasy alliance as they followed a dirt trail deeper into the forest. The trees grew thicker, and a foul smell began to fill the air. Then they saw it. An old cabin standing crookedly in a clearing, surrounded by animal bones and rusted tools. The group hesitated, but desperation won over fear. They entered the cabin, hoping to find a phone. Inside, the silence was unbearable. On a wooden table lay half-eaten meat, flies buzzing above it. In the next room, jars filled with human body parts lined the shelves. Francine screamed. They realized too late, this wasn't a hunter's cabin. It was home to killers. Before they could escape, the sound of a truck roared outside. Chris signaled everyone to hide. Through a crack in the door, they saw them, 3 monstrous, deformed men dragging a body into the cabin. Their laughter was guttural and cruel. The friends watched in horror as the cannibals butchered their victim. Blood splattered the floor. The smell of death was everywhere. When the killers fell asleep, the group tried to sneak out, but Francine's foot hit a creaky board. One of the mutants opened his eyes. Panic erupted. They fled into the forest, chased by screams and the sound of axes slicing through the air. Scott and Carly ran one way, Chris, Jesse, and the others another. Branches whipped their faces as they ran blindly, trying to outdistance the monsters that knew the woods better than anyone. By dawn, half the group was gone. Evan and Francine were captured, their cries echoing through the forest before falling silent. Chris and Jesse, exhausted and terrified, stumbled upon an old watchtower. They climbed inside, barricading the door. For a moment, it felt safe. But when night came again, the killers surrounded the tower and set it on fire. Smoke filled the air, forcing them to jump through a window and crash into the trees below. Badly injured, they hid in a stream and waited until morning. The killers never stopped searching. Their truck prowled the dirt paths, hunting. Jesse clung to Chris, whispering, "They'll never stop." But Chris refused to give up. Using the map from his car, he found an old mining trail that led to the highway. Every step was pain and fear, but survival burned brighter than terror. In the end, Chris managed to lure the killers into a trap near the mine entrance. A desperate fight broke out. Flames, gunshots, and the roar of an explosion shattered the quiet forest. Chris pulled Jesse from the wreckage as the cabin burned behind them. Smoke curled into the dark sky like a warning to anyone who dared enter those woods again. As they reached the main road, bleeding and shaking, a police patrol stopped to help. Chris turned one last time toward the forest. For a moment, he thought he saw movement, a shadow limping through the smoke. The nightmare wasn't over. Somewhere in those cursed trees, evil still breathed. The wrong turn had changed everything.